Breakdance 2.5 is here, and it's packed with a ton of new features to make building websites with Breakdance smoother, faster, and more productive. In this video, we're going to go over what is new so that you can see exactly what Breakdance 2.5 has to offer, how it can make your life easier, and how it can help you build websites better. This is Kevin. Let's dive in. Let's kick things off with one of the biggest time savers in this release, inline editing for global blocks. Let's go to our new section, and then we're going to double click on our design to open the global block instantly on the page. We're ready to edit and modify our design. In this case, we just want to add a post excerpt. So let's go ahead and add a text element, and then we're going to select the post excerpt for our dynamic data. And just like that, we're done. So all we have to do now is click off of the highlighted area, and we'll see that our excerpt now shows on all of our posts directly. Now, there's a few other ways that you can edit and exit a global block. So we just saw that you can double click on and off with the canvas. You can also click this edit global block right here, and this will open up the global block to be edited. You can click this stop editing button, or you can click this arrow up here to go back to our page. On top of that, you can click this button right here to open the global block in a new tab. So now that we can edit global blocks inline, let's take this a step further. We're going to use the quick navigator to create an entirely new global block and edit it on this page without ever leaving the page. So first, we are going to go to the quick navigator, and we're going to click the plus sign to create a new post. We'll select the global block, and we are going to name this promo footer. Now, let's add a new section to our page. And within that, we're going to add a global block. And we're going to select this promo footer global block. We'll see that it's currently empty, which is what is expected because it's brand new. And so let's go ahead and click the Edit Global Block button. And this is going to open our global block to be edited. So within the global block, let's now add a section. And for our section, we're going to add a background. We'll set the image to this image right here. We'll go ahead and put some image settings on. We'll set it to cover, no repeat, and we'll position center center. And then we'll add a small overlay. So we'll go ahead and set it to black, and we'll set the opacity to 0.2. 0.4 is fine. And now we're going to add a heading to our section. We'll set the typography to our white. Actually, let's go ahead and use sandstone, and we'll say, welcome home. And the last thing we want to do is for our section, let's just go ahead and center everything. And let's set the size. So let's set our height to, let's do 50 vertical height, and our width to full. And now we can exit our global block. And there we go. We've just created an entirely new global block without ever leaving the page. One of the features that we're really excited for in Breakdance 2.5 is design library parts. Design library parts let you save one or more sections into a reusable layout. And here's the kicker. Once you use a design library part in Breakdance, you can edit it as you wish. You don't have to worry about the original updating the design library part, or your design library part changes updating the original. Let's now go over how to create a design library part. So the first thing we want to do is we actually want to go back into the WordPress admin, and then we'll go to Breakdance Settings, Design Library, and we want to make sure turn this website into a design set is enabled. Once that's enabled, you'll see design library parts within the Breakdance admin menu, as well as in the builder itself. If you go to the quick navigator and click the plus sign, you can go ahead and create a new part. In this case, we'll just say Hero New. And then you can click into that part to open it. Once you're in the design part, you can go ahead and add your content. In this example, we're just adding a section with a full-size image, but you can add whatever you want to this section. You can also add multiple sections so that the design part is a whole page, or it could contain a bunch of different sections similar to what we have with the Samba design set, where you can find just a bunch of different info boxes on the same page. You could turn this into design parts and then consolidate all of your heroes or your contact forms or whatever together on one page so that you can quickly access them. So let's save this, and then we'll just go back to our homepage really quick. Now we're going to talk about how to add these design parts to your website. So we're going to go ahead and open the design library by hitting Command B. Once we're there, we can go ahead and choose this website for our design tab. We can then filter by parts, and this will show all of our design parts that we have already created. The beauty of design library parts is that this can be composed of multiple sections or one section. So if you wish to create an entire page as a part, you can do that, and then you can use those sections as you wish, or you can use one section for each part. However you want to do it, that's up to you. Once you find the section that you want to use, you just go ahead and add it to the page, and you'll see it there automatically, and you can edit it as you wish. The other great thing about design library parts is that you can share them across multiple websites. When you convert your site into a design set, you can use that design set across any other sites. This is perfect for teams, agencies, for anyone who has clients. You can create amazing designs once and then use them everywhere. Next, let's talk about a visual upgrade that brings your designs to life: scroll-based color animations. Breakdance 2.5 allows you to animate backgrounds and colors as users scroll down the page. Not only is this flashy and awesome, but it helps bring your designs to life and is a powerful storytelling feature. Let's take a look. So here's a great example that we have already set up. We have a hero section with a bold headline. The headline is currently using a color burn effect, and we have the typography color set to black. We also have a scrolling animation that uses black, black, and sky blue. And let's go ahead and look at how the color changes as we scroll. We can see that the text almost seems to fade so that the user can focus on the picture. Now, this is just one great way to use the effect, but you can use it however you want. On this page, we also have a lifestyle section about living in Miami. We wanted to make it so as the user scrolls down the page, this will shift from a white to a black or a day to night. So let's go ahead and look at our scrolling animation right now. We have the start as translucent, the middle is black, and the end is black. And we've set the trigger to be more towards the end. And that's because we don't want this effect to show right away. We want it to take some time, and we can see it starting to get darker now. But we wanted to make it so that by the time the user got to this image, everything turned dark. So now all of a sudden we're talking about the nightlife culture. And it's a really great way to take this section from day to night. And let's go ahead and use the preview mode to see what this really looks like on the front end. So we have our text that almost seems to fade away, but not quite. And now we have our section that slowly starts to turn from day to night so that the user can see what the nightlife is all about. The text field for Breakdance forms now supports input masks. This makes it really great to control how your data is entered. So let's go ahead and take a look. So we have our form here already on the page, and we're going to go ahead and open up the name, which is the text field. We'll then go to advanced. We can see the mask option. Now there's a lot of different mask options you can use. For example, a number sign means that you're expecting one number. The @ symbol means you're expecting one letter. And so if I were to type into here, I could only do one number, and then I could only do one letter. You can use Z and 9 to allow users to enter numbers or text indefinitely. You can also use an uppercase Z to make sure that everything is uppercase. So let's take a quick look at a few examples of this. For this mask, we're on the first name. So let's just do Z space Z space Z. And what this means is that we now have an option for users to add their name up to 3 times. So for example, if I wanted to do John A. Smith, I could do that. And I can only type in letters here. I can't type in numbers like I'm trying to do right now, only letters. Next, let's go ahead and add a new field, and we're going to show how to do something more complex, such as Brazilian tax IDs, which is CPF or CNPJ. And for a placeholder, we'll do CPF CNPJ. So now we're going to enter a more complex mask because we want to allow 2 different ways for users to enter this data. So we're going to do a bracket, and then we're going to do a single quote to open our first option. And we're going to add some numbers here. And then we'll do the single quote to close out our first option. Now we're going to do a comma, and we're going to enter in our second option. And in this case, the number design is going to be slightly different. So there we go. We have two different formats. And now let's go ahead and show how this looks on the form. So if a user starts typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and if they do 1, 2, we'll see our first format is set up. But if they keep typing, we'll now see it change over to our second format. So we'll do 3, 4, 5. And we can see that our second format is set up automatically. Now the user just has to input their numbers. They don't have to input the format. They don't have to input the periods or the dashes or the forward slashes. It's all just done automatically for them. The Mask system is powered by Mask.js, which gives you tons of flexibility for numbers, letters, optional characters, and conditional formatting. Breakdance 2.5 introduces the Masonry layout, which is available for your loop elements and your gallery element. So to get started, let's go down to the properties section on our homepage. And we currently have a post loop builder with a properties loop item global block. And the layout is set to grid. Let's go ahead and change this now to properties masonry layout. And we're going to go ahead and edit the query. We're going to change the post per page to the WordPress default, which is 10. And we'll apply that. And now we're going to go over to design list. And we're going to set our layout to masonry instead of grid. Now we have a beautiful layout for all our properties using a masonry layout. The masonry layout can be used for anything you wish, such as real estate, portfolio, anything that you think would work really well with a more fluid structure. Some of the last features we want to talk about are general workflow improvements. For starters, we've added a new experimental feature that allows you to see the inherited value of a control when working on breakpoints. And we've also added a way to set the default unit size for all of your controls. So let's take a look at some of these features now. First, let's go ahead and look at the experimental features. So we'll open up Preferences, and under Preferences, we'll see two new options. This is an experimental feature that shows the previous breakpoint value as a placeholder and the default unit type. So we already have the experimental feature enabled. Let's go ahead and change our default unit type to rem. And now let's go ahead and select a section, and we'll see both of these working in place. So if I open up our spacing, we can see that this is currently set to 0 pixels, but all our other default values are set to rem. Let's go ahead and actually delete all of our current controls so that we only see the default values. We can see right now that everything is rem. If I go back into Preferences and change our default value to pixels, we'll see that everything is set to pixels. If I set a control to 0 pixels and then change my global preferences to rem, we'll see that what I've already set stays as is, and all our other MG controls will change to the default value. Second, let's go ahead and look at our experimental feature of breakpoint. So we've set the padding to 0 pixels here for our section. So if I now go to the tablet view, I can see that the inherited value is 0 pixels. I could set this to rem instead, or I could set it to 2 pixels. And then if I go down to the next breakpoint, we'll see that we now inherit the 2 pixel padding instead of the 0 padding. Now, as far as other tweaks and improvements, if we select a text element and then we go to the design tab and go to typography, we can see that under our preset, we've now included actual information about what that preset includes. So you can see the size of the font, as well as whether or not the font has styles such as bold or italics or anything else, so that you can quickly identify whether or not that is the font typography you want. We've also made it so that you can create design presets just by clicking enter. So if I wanted to turn this section into a design preset, I could just go ahead and say blue background and hit enter. And my preset is already created for me. So we hope you enjoyed this walkthrough on Breakdance 2.5 and all the new features and enhancements that it includes. You can find the full changelog for Breakdance 2.5 on our website. This includes all the enhancements, tweaks, and fixes that we've included. And we're so excited to see how you'll use Breakdance 2.5 to elevate your websites and your agencies to the next level.